everyone, my name is Jasmine. Just going to give people a few moments to hop on. I have 2 blocks with me, so feel free to grab any props that you think you'll need throughout the practice. It should last roughly 40 minutes or so. So once you have everything that you'll need, go ahead and take a comfortable seat. What we'll begin with is just some few cleansing breaths. Feel free to place one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly if that feels good for you, or you can have both hands relax on your thighs or knees. I like to close my eyes, but if you like to keep your eyes open, feel free to do so. So just allow your breath to begin growing fuller and deeper. Maybe begin to match the length of your inhales with the length of your exhales. Just really begin to settle into this moment. Notice how the breath moves throughout your body. And notice if you happen to be holding tension anywhere. Begin to breathe in such a way where you release that tension. Complete 2 more cycles of breath. Bottom of your second exhale. Blink your eyes open if they have closed. Inhale, reach your fingertips towards your ceiling. Take a deep breath, exhale, release your hands. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, release. Inhale your arms overhead. This time your hands touch, and then bring your palms to the center of your chest. Inhale, reach, reach, reach. Exhale, release. Then bring your hands to your thighs, or feel free to have them rest on your shoulders. We're just going to rotate our shoulders back. Just warming up the body with gentle movements. Go ahead and switch directions. And gently bring your hands back down to your thighs. Go ahead and just rotate your neck, your head down and forward, and then up and back. You can go as fast or as slow as you would like. Switch directions. And then come into stillness. Roll over your knees, come onto hands and knees. We'll just do a few rounds of cat-cow. So really separate the space between your shoulder blades. Look back at your navel. On your next breath, drop your torso. Lift your hips and shoulders. Lift your gaze slightly. Move back and forth between these 2 positions. Allowing your breath to move freely throughout the body. Come into a neutral spine. Walk your hands about a palm print forward. walk your knees back, and then come to lying down on your torso. Bring your forearms flat on your mat. Separate your fingers wide. Press the tops of feet onto your mat. Gently rise up. Bring your shoulders, allow them to relax down. Make sure your shoulders are moving away from your ears. Take another breath here. Exhale, release back down. Now bring your hands alongside to frame your chest. Bring your shoulders together on your back. We're going to press into our hands, slowly rolled up. Just a mini cobra here. Exhale, release. And let's move back into child's pose. Separate your knees as wide as your mat. Bring your big toes to touch. Allow your torso to fold in between your thighs. Breathe and relax here. On your next inhale, come back into tabletop. Leaving your left hand planted, turn and twist to the right. Right arm goes to the sky. Exhale, come down and thread the needle. Come down into your right shoulder. Stay here for a cycle of breath. Inhale, right arm to the sky. Drop your right hand to the mat. Press into your right hand now. Left arm lifts to the sky. Exhale. Come down to your left shoulder. Really release and relax into this space. Stay here for one cycle of breath. Press into your right hand. Left hand lifts to the ceiling and then back down. Do a few rounds of cat-cow here. And if you would like, bring some extra movement. Maybe you rock your weight forward and back, or like to move your hips from side to side. Just do what your body is calling for in this moment. Come into stillness. Step your right foot in between your hands. Walk your palms up your knee. And then inhale, lift your arms overhead. Exhale, release your hands back down to the top of your mat. Tuck your left toes, lift your leg off the mat. And step your left foot forward. Step your right foot back. Lower your knee to the mat. Gently walk your hands up your shin onto your thigh. On your next inhale, lift your arms overhead. Bring your hands to the top of your mat. Tuck your right toes, lift your knee off the mat, step your right foot forward. Forward fold. Really just stay here for the next few breaths. If it's more comfortable to bend your knees, please do so. With an inhale, lift up halfway so you have a flat back. Exhale, bring your hands back down to the mat. On an inhale, rise up with your hands overhead. Palms touch. Exhale your hands to the center of your chest. Inhale, reach your arms overhead. Separate your palms. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, plant your hands on the mat. Let's step back into a modified plank. Hugging your elbows in towards your body. Lower all the way down. With an inhale, peel your shoulders away from the mat. Then exhale, tuck your toes. Push yourself up into a downward facing dog. Go ahead and do your favorite movements before settling into the space. Maybe you like to bend one knee
and then the other. Again, move your hips from side to side, or if you found that you already got the wiggles out, feel free to relax into downward facing dog. Step your right foot in between your hands. Lower your back knee to the ground. Leave your left hand planted next to your right foot. Turn and twist to the right. Right arm goes to the sky. We'll stay here for 3 more cycles of breath. Really work on stacking your shoulders, opening up your chest. Bottom of your third exhale. Bring your right hand down to frame your foot. Tuck your left toes, lift your knee off the mat. Step your left foot forward. Step your right foot back. Lower your right knee to the mat. This time, leave your right hand planted next to your left foot. Turn and twist to the left. You can look down, out, or up, whatever feels best on your neck. And again, we'll stay here for 3 cycles of breath. Bottom of your third exhale. Bring your left hand to frame your foot. Tuck your right toes, lift your knee off the mat. Step your right foot forward. During this forward fold, separate your feet a little wider than your hips. Allow your head to hang heavy. Feel free to shake your head yes and no, just to release any tension in your neck. Go ahead and sway from side to side. You can make little half circles around your feet, or if it's more suited for you, you can grab your elbows and sway. Bottom of your next exhale, go ahead and release your elbows if you have grabbed them. Come into stillness with an inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, let's rise up with our hands overhead. Palms touch. Exhale your hands to the center of your chest. Inhale, lift your arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Place your hands on the mat. Step back into a modified plank. Slowly lower all the way down. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, come back down. Make your way into child's pose. Really stretch your fingertips towards the top of your mat. On your next breath, walk your hands to the upper right corner of your mat, keeping the same distance between them. Just really feel the left side of your body begin to open up. If you would like to intensify the stretch, bring your left hand on top of your right. Continue to breathe deeply. Inhale, walk your hands back to center, then over to the upper left corner of your mat. And you have the same option as before. Your hands can stay exactly where they are, or if you would like to just make the stretch a little more intense, bring your right hand on top of your left. Bringing attention back to our breath. Notice how it moves along the right side of the body. On your next breath, walk your hands back to the center of your mat. We're going to shift our weight forward just slightly so we can tuck our toes, and then make your way back into downward facing dog. Bend your knees, lower them to the mat. Come to standing on your knees. We're going to move into camel pose. So if you have two blocks and you would like them, go ahead and set them on either side of your ankles. Bring your hands to your low back as if you're putting your hands in your pockets. Go ahead and bring your shoulders together. Tighten your glutes. Begin to push your hips forward as your gaze comes up and then back. Moving slowly, stopping anywhere you feel a good stretch. Your hands can stay at your low back, or one at a time you can release them to your blocks. Hips are continuing to move forward. If you find that you don't need your blocks, you can release them to your hands to your ankles. If your hands have traveled, move them back to your low back and slowly rise up. Set your blocks aside. Come down to all fours. And let's move into cat pose. This time, bring your knees and feet together. Really round in your back. Press your hands and tops of the feet into the mat. Separate the space between your shoulder blades. On your next breath, come into a neutral spine. Walk your hands, a palm print forward. Let's make our way back into downward facing dog. Step your right foot in between your hands. Keep your back heel lifted. On an inhale, rise up. Hands overhead. Now we're going to, with our right hand, grab our left wrist. Really reach up, stretch up straight, and then bend over to the right. Bend towards your bent knee. Inhale, let's reach back to center. Exhale. Drop your hands down to your mat. Step your left foot forward. Step your right foot back into a lunge. Inhale, rise up. Arms overhead. This time with our left hand, we're going to grab our right wrist. Inhale. Exhale, bend over to the side, to the left, towards your bent knee. Stay here for one more cycle of breath. Bottom of your exhale, back to center. Bring both hands down to the top of your mat. And then step back into a modified plank. Slowly lower all the way down. With an inhale, peel your shoulders away from the mat. Cobra. Exhale. Come back down to the mat. Tuck your toes. Make your way into downward facing dog. You can either press straight up or transition through tabletop. Bend your knees slightly. Look in between your hands. Walk towards the top of your mat. Or forward fold. With an inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up with your hands overhead. Palms touch. Exhale, your hands to the center of your chest. Go ahead and come into a wide stance, preparing for goddess pose. So bring your your ankles in while your toes point out. Bring your arms into goddess arms, and with an inhale, we'll lift our chest. Exhale, bend your knees, sit deep.
Inhale, reach your arms overhead, straighten your legs. Exhale, sit deep. Inhale, reach. Exhale, sit deep. Last time, inhale, reach. Exhale, sit deep. Inhale, reach your arms overhead. Bring your feet together. Maybe do a mini back bend, have your thumbs come behind you. Exhale, bring your hands to the center of your chest. Inhale, reach your arms overhead. Exhale, swan dive. With an inhale, we'll reach our arms overhead. So come into a flat back. Exhale, release. Bring your hands to either side of your feet. Make your way into a modified plank. Exhale, lower all the way down. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, make your way into downward facing dog. Then bring your feet and ankles together. Bend your knees slightly. Walk your hands back to meet your feet. So coming to forward fold at the back of your mat. Inhale, reach up. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up with your arms overhead. Palms touch. Exhale, your hands to the center of your chest. So if you do have a block handy, go ahead and grab one. We're going to have the block in our right hand. With your left foot, step about halfway up the distance of your mat. Make sure your hips are square to the front of your mat. Bring your right arm, right block to the ceiling. Take a deep inhale here. Exhale, hinge forward. Really reach your hand, reach your block towards the top of your mat. Then we're going to go for a twist. Place your block on the outside of your left foot. Or if it feels a little more comfortable, feel free to place it on the inside. Turn and twist. Your left hand can stay on your hip, or it can go to the sky. Staying here for 2 more cycles of breath. Bottom of your second exhale. Bring your hands down to the mat. Go ahead and come to standing at the back of your mat. So we can switch sides. Go and switch the block on in your left hand. With your right foot, step about halfway up the distance of your mat. And again, making sure that you square your chest to the top of your mat. Left hand goes to the sky. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, hinge forward. Same option as before, taking the twist. Your block or your hand can come to the outside of your right foot, or it can be on the inside. Turn and twist. Again, right hand can stay on your hip, or it can float to the ceiling. Staying here for 2 more cycles of breath. Exhale, release. Set your block to the side. Come to standing at the back of your mat. Inhale, reach your arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, we'll lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Place your hands on the mat and go ahead and walk them out until you're in downward dog. Bend your knees, lower them to the mat, and come into child's pose. Place your hands together in a prayer position. Then bring your prayer hands to the nape of your neck.
Go ahead and press your elbows into the mat. Feel the stretch along the backs of your arms. Notice how your breath fills your lungs on each inhale. And notice the temperature of the breath when you exhale. Exhale, reach your arms overhead. Inhale, shift your weight forward, make your way into downward facing dog. Go ahead and shorten your stance, maybe about a footprint. Leave your left hand planted. With your right hand, grab the outside of your left leg or your left ankle. Turn and twist. Gaze up under your left armpit for twisted down dog. Stay here for 2 more cycles of breath. Bottom of your second exhale, bring your right hand back to the top of your mat. This time the right hand's going to stay planted. Bring your left hand outside of your right leg or your right ankle. Using that as leverage, turn and twist. Gaze comes up under your right armpit. Staying here for 2 more cycles of breath. When you're ready, bring your left hand back to the top of your mat and return to your normal, longer down dog stance. Bend your knees, lower them to the mat into a modified plank. Slowly lower all the way down. Inhale, peel your shoulders away from the mat. Cobra. Exhale, come back down. Tuck your toes, make your way into downward facing dog. Bring your feet and ankles together, bend your knees, walk your hands back to the back of your mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, stand up with your arms overhead. Palms touch. Exhale your hands to the center of your chest. And go ahead and grab both blocks if you do have them. We're going to set them on either side of our mats. Coming back to the back of our mat. With your right foot, step about halfway up the distance of your mat. Right toes pointing forward. Left toe slightly out, however, we do want to square our hips to the top of the mat. So bring your hands into reverse mudra. So if you can allow, if your shoulders are open enough, bring your hands into a prayer position behind your back. If that feels to be uncomfortable, go ahead and just grab both elbows. We're going to breathe here. If your neck allows, gaze can come up or back. Staying here for 2 more cycles of breath. Exhale, release. Again, with our hips still square to the top of our mat. Go ahead and hinge forward about halfway. And then allow both hands to release to either your blocks or the mat. Folding forward. Make sure your right hip is tracking back as your left hip comes forward. Hips are square to the top of the mat. And feel free to have your blocks on any level. If it feels better to have your blocks on its highest level, please do so. Staying here for 2 more cycles of breath. Bottom of your second exhale. Let's bring our left foot forward, keeping your blocks where they are. Step your right foot back. Inhale, rise up. Again, make sure your hips are square. And you can bring your hands behind you, grab your elbows, or bring your hands into a prayer position, the center of your spine. Really pressing down firmly into both feet into the mat. If your back and gaze allows, you can curl back slightly, gaze comes up. Staying here for 2 more cycles of breath. Bottom of your second exhale. Bring your hands to your hips. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, hinge forward, pausing halfway. And then folding forward again using your blocks. Or if you find that you don't need your blocks, feel free to continue to fold forward. Left hip moves back. Right hip goes forward. And play around with the levels on your blocks, whatever feels best. Staying here for a few rounds of breath, and maybe you begin to notice as we stay here, you're able to go a little deeper into the posture. Forehead comes maybe a tiny bit closer to your left knee. Into your front knee. Inhale, come back up. Move your left foot back to meet your right foot. Inhale, reach overhead. Exhale, forward fold. With an inhale, we'll lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Walk your hands out to downward facing dog. Bend your knees lower them to the mat. And come to standing on your knees. You may or may not need a block for this. I always use one, so keep one handy. We'll have our left foot go out so it's in line with your right knee. Inhale, lift your right arm to the sky. Go ahead and hinge. Crescent over to the side. Breathe deeply. Inhale, come back to center, both arms to your side. Then move into a modified side plank. Right hand can come to a block or even rest on your mat. Left fingertips reaching towards the side of the room. Inhale, back to center. And crescent over. We'll be moving back and forth between these two poses, stopping halfway. So move with your breath. And really reach your fingertips to the opposite ends of the room. One long line of energy that goes from your left toes out through your fingertips. We'll do each side 2 more times. Inhale, exhale, reach,
Inhale back to center. Exhale, reach. Inhale back to center. Bring your hands to your hips and go ahead and switch out your legs. Right leg off to the side now. Inhale, left arm to the ceiling. Crescent over to the side. Your right hand can rest on your leg or it can come down to your mat. Inhale back to center. Exhale, drop your left hand. Modified side plank. Really reach your fingertips towards the opposite end of the room. Inhale back to center. Again, we'll be moving between the two postures. Inhale, center. Exhale, reach and stretch. Inhale, center. Do each side 2 more times. Inhale, exhale, reach. Inhale, center. Exhale. Inhale, back to center. And just come to have a seat. Bring your legs out in front of you. And just roll out your ankles, so point and flex your feet. And come to have the bottoms of your feet touch. Sit up tall, really root down in your sits bones. If you're more comfortable staying in this upright position, please do so. Or if you would like, feel free to fold forward.
Forehead coming towards your feet. One more cycle of breath.
Rise up. Come to lying down on your back. Bend your knees, place both feet on the mat. Your arms can come out into a T or a broken T. And allow your knees to fall over to the right. As your gaze comes over your left shoulder, with an inhale, gaze and knees come back to center. Allow your knees to fall to the left as your gaze comes over your right shoulder now. Inhale your knees back to center. And go ahead. Hug your knees into your chest, wrap your arms around your shins. Curl your head and shoulders off the mat. Give yourself a tight squeeze. Say a few kind words to yourself, giving yourself gratitude for making it on your mat this afternoon. And take any last few movements your body is calling for. Maybe you like to rock from side to side. And when you're ready, rest into your final resting pose.
And release and relax all muscles. Palms can be facing up for a more receiving motion, or feel free to have them face down, lay them on your mat or the ground to feel more grounded. Use the next few moments to lie here in stillness. Shavasana. Feel free to stay in this pose for a few more cycles of breath, or begin to wake up your body by wiggling your fingers and your toes. Press yourself up into a seat. Thank you for joining me to this practice. Again, my name is Jasmine. Namaste.